Hi there everyone, it's me, TheDomotaku, and today we are going to be talking about the anime series Happy Sugar Life from last season. Now, for those of you who know me, I joke around a lot saying that I can't really make videos or record videos on my phone and upload them because there's no space on my phone to take a video or a recording and stuff. But no one said I couldn't do audio recordings and stuff. So this is something different. I hope to make something out of this and hopefully have it be as effective as it was doing the recording. But I really want to talk about my thoughts and feelings for the series because I really liked it and I really enjoyed it last season. It's kind of sad as ending I'm talking about now, but I really want to talk about it, and that's why I'm doing this. So hopefully this is really effective. And if you like it, comment that you like it and leave a like or something like that. But yes, Happy Sugar Life. So I will give a general sense about Happy Sugar Life in general, like a non-spoilerly thoughts on the series overall, and then I'll talk about episode 12 and then spoilers and just the whole discussion of the series in general. So stay tuned for that. Happy Sugar Life. So Happy Sugar Life, at first when I saw it, of course, it had the tags of drama, horror, psychological, and it deals with the story of a yandere, or a really crazy girl named Sato, who experiences the discovery of love through someone she loves, and this person happens to be a little kid. Now, essentially, it is about a yandere, and if you don't know what yandere is, yanderes are like crazy psychopathic characters who sort of would do a lot of crazy things for love, essentially, yeah. And that's all I'm gonna say about this show. But essentially, what I really liked about this anime, if I had to put it somewhere in this title or like say what I really liked about it, is the characters, and the main character Sato and her love interest Shio. And these two characters just really resonated with me a lot throughout this whole anime. Now, give it that some of the other characters in this anime are pretty crazy and pretty over the top in my opinion, but you can ignore that fact, then I think the relationship with the main characters relationship with Sato and Shio is really strong, and I really felt an emotion, or I felt something for these characters all the way towards the end of the series. And at some point of the anime, I said that I think one of the videos I mentioned in my channel, I was like rooting for their relationship to be a success, even though she's a crazy yandere who, may have done some bad deeds and stuff like that. But overall, their characters throughout the end really made me question, or really made me like care for them, I think. And it was just really sad, not sad, but like it's sort of like sad to see the series end and to see that these characters and their journey where it led them to. But aside from that, the stories, it's kind of whatever. I mean, it's a yandere story and this love romance thing, and it's a mystery too, actually. I wouldn't, is it the same mystery? It's the same mystery, but there's a huge lot of plot twists and mysteries and like, oh, what's gonna happen sort of thing. So that I really like that about this anime too. Yeah, I highly recommend this anime unless you're not too much fan of gory stuff, but it's not too gory in my opinion. There's rarely any gore. It's just a lot of like dark psychological stuff. Yeah, that's more fitted for the series. I highly recommend you guys check it out. Happy Sugar Life. It's pretty good. 12 episodes just finished. And up ahead now, I will be talking spoilers, so if you have not seen any episodes from 1 through 12, you will be spoiled. So, and then I'll discuss the whole series as a whole. So, episode 12, oh my goodness. Honestly, I went back to episode 1 to see like it would be foretelling the future of the series in the end, and it was. So, I cannot believe that they killed Sato. Wow, that's very part of me still doesn't know how to feel about that towards the end of this. Like, it's been like, I don't know, a few weeks since the anime ended. I still thinking about it now. I don't know how to feel about her dying, but it's a very noble act somewhat. So in the end of the episode 12, the whole apartment lights on fire, and honestly the whole plot thing with her leaving the ring at the house was kind of like because they could have easily just avoided the whole thing if that didn't happen, which is really weird, but it happened anyways. I just went along with it. But then afterwards, the whole fire of the apartment, and then just the whole like meetings of everyone, like Asahi and Shio, and it just went hella haywire. And then it led to the deepening point where They were forced to the roof, and then their last and only choice was to jump off and commit suicide together in their loved one's arms and stuff. And that was some deep shit, because I knew that was gonna happen ever since episode 1. But then, surprisingly, what happens is that we get a really emotional moment with Sato and Shio, right, where they're falling down to the ground, right, and then just Sato is just like talking and just explaining like her whole story, like how she never experienced love and she didn't know what the feeling was until she met Shio, and then just had this whole montage of just like, what could have been their life if they were just together. And it kind of made me sad a bit thinking about it now. It's just like, part of me was rooting for these characters all the time. And then, surprisingly, at the last moment, Sato decides to save Shio instead of having them both die together. Now, this is a very interesting topic and something I did not foresee at all. And a lot of people online are talking about it also. So, what they were saying was, which I believe too, so essentially at that moment, Sato says that she understood a deeper meaning to her love for Shio, right? And then right after that, she makes the decision to use her to save her from the fall. So this is sort of what I was feeling from the very first episode onwards, is that the relationship between Shio and Sato is sort of like a family member, or like a mother and a daughter sort of way, right? That's how I sort of saw it in the beginning when they introduced this whole series and the characters, right? And I was like, oh, this girl either got kidnapped or abandoned, and Sato's just taking care of her. And it's just like, it was sort of like really happy, and it's like, oh man, this is like a really nice family daughter sort of relationship going on here. And they didn't really do anything like too lover-esque or romantic until they did kiss eventually, but I mean, that's how I sort of saw their relationship as. Now in the final episode, they really play it off, and I think that's what they're saying with Sato and Shio's relationship, is that Sato sort of saw their love relationship more as like a daughter sort of thing, and she wanted to take, unless she just loved her to the point that she wanted her to be alive, then that's another thing. But yeah, she shielded her, risked her life to save her, and let her live on, even though she knew that she wouldn't be around to love her anymore. So I don't know if she thought that she would be turn out if Sato knew that Shio would be okay turning out, even though she died, or like, it's really weird. But eventually towards the end, she said that she hopes she's reborn, that she'll love her again, and it's really sad. Now I'm thinking about it right now, but yeah, it's the whole thing that's getting me right now is just like, well, for one, them dying was kind of a bummer, but I mean, the whole like onwards and future is really interesting, because Sato making that decision to save Shio's life, not knowing how it would turn out in the end, if Shio would miss her or Shio would be really sad that her loved one's gone and stuff like that. But no, so Shio turns out super fine. She's in the hospital and alive, but then she's sort of different and crazy now, and she's sort of like Sato, I think, and that whole influence with her just really makes it super interesting for a potential of a season 2. Now I really like that sort of thing. I really, honestly, in my opinion, I wish we get a season 2, but it's kind of weird to do it now and explain all this whole shenanigan stuff, because it's really weird and interesting, but I like it. So yeah, Shio makes it out of the hospital, and she's sort of like crazy, or like influenced by Sato a lot, saying that she doesn't need to go home, and that her loved one Sato is with her, and she has her ribbon with her, and she just has this look in her eyes that sort of reminds me of Sato, like yandere Sato. I don't know how the hell that happens or how this works, but it's really interesting. I'd love to see it in a season 2. Please let it be a season 2. So they ended like that, and that's it. It's like somewhat open-ended, but it's just really interesting. I really want to know what happens. So that's my thoughts on episode 12 of the anime. So the whole series in general. So after the whole anime ended, right, I did a lot of research, and of course I found that this is based off a manga series. Now, I have yet to read this manga series, and if there is some slight differences, then I will make note of it maybe in a video. But I did look it up, and people are saying that the manga series was very fast-paced, or the anime started airing like when the manga was soon to be finishing, right? And they people are saying that the fire scene in episode 1 didn't happen in the manga, or it didn't foreshadow in the beginning of the manga that they would be fire or something like that, right? So there is a possibility that I don't know of that the ending is different in the manga, which really makes me interested to read it, because if there's a different ending in the manga, because the anime finished ahead of the manga from what I'm looking at here, it says, or from what people are saying and what I'm looking at here, right? So if the anime finished earlier than the manga, and the manga is really close to ending, now either way, what happened is that the manga would, like, you know, or the artist or whoever made the anime of the series would tell the people how it ends, and then they could just animate it, and then it'll be released in the manga, the same thing, right? That's what I assume would happen. Or they could have a different ending in the manga and a different ending in the anime, and that would just be freaking mind-blowing. That's, like, huge, because that's a potential for a second season right there. Well, maybe not a second season in anime, but it's just really weird. Because I think the ending for this anime is really conclusive, and it's solid, and it just gives you... There's a lot of potential for more. I really like it, so... That's what I thought about the manga relationship with this anime. But overall, so the series overall. So, like I said before, I think the strongest suit point or this series is its characters, because I really gave a crap about not every, but like a lot of the characters in this anime, because ever since episode 1, you're introduced to Sato. We know I knew she was a yandere at first, so I'm just like, okay, what's her deal with the whole yandere thing? Who's her love interest? And it's like, oh, is this little kid? Did you kidnap her? Like, what's the deal with this? And then, like, where's the apartment? So, yeah, I mean, I think, like, her character is very complicated. She's a yandere, but I did root for her towards the end just a little bit, and that's kind of weird. But then, so, another aspect about this anime is the victims. And, there are a total of, well, let me count. Is there like 3 or 4 people, I think, the body count in this anime? So, of course, ever since episode 1, we knew at the end credits that she killed someone. So I'm just like, okay, she's a crazy yandere murderer. She probably killed the person who lived, or the people that lived in the apartment. We didn't know who it was at first. So, was it a family? Was it just one guy? And I'm just like, okay, she's a murderer. I don't know how I feel about this. And then towards the whole progression of the anime, right, we just get introduced to a lot of rivals or obstacles in her way, like her crazy boss, and then the teacher that's really crazy, and then Tayo, and then like these assholes at the park. And like I said in the beginning, like some of the characters here are a little bit over the top. I'm mostly talking about the boss lady for her first job, and the teacher, and somewhat of Tayo, because these people just really, really, like, I don't know, their actions and like their whole like motivations just seem really like too crazy, in my opinion. I know Sato is really crazy, but she's a yandere, and like her sort of like mentality and thinking is really described and developed in this manga, so I kind of understand why she's thinking these things. The teacher and the boss lady, they're sort of meh. They're just like, you know, like, okay, the boss lady's like, you know, wants attention from all of her employees and stuff, and is jealous of Sato. The teacher is just really a scumbag, and the thing who likes to, maybe a masochist, and just like likes to get like, you know, all this dumb, like dirty stuff, and like, you know, cheating on his wife and whatnot. Tayo is a victim of the boss lady, so it kind of makes sense how he's traumatized by it. But then his sudden development for Shio and just like little girls is just like really weird. But then I kind of understand it because his traumatization, and he actually almost gets redeemed or not redeemed, but like he almost changes his ways in the series. So I thought he would. It's sort of okay now, and that's about it. So. Okay, so back to the body counts. So Sato, right? At first, you know, we knew she killed someone, and then she encounters all these rivals and obstacles towards the progression of the series. And my thought process is that, wow, she's really trying to care for this kid, Shio, or her lover, but yet she killed someone. And until the fact that we know that who she killed, it's kind of not somewhat justified, but I don't really feel as bad as much about it. So the body count in the anime, so the first person we find out about is the owner of the apartment. So the owner of the apartment was just some random ass guy that was like an artist, right? And was, you know, have Sato come over because she doesn't want to be with her crazy ass aunt, and they would just do art and sketching together and whatnot. They didn't really do anything else aside from that. And essentially the only reason why Sato killed her is because when she brought in Shiho, the guy was trying to freaking murder a little kid because it makes Sato, different in her expression and her personality and shit. I'm just like, okay, that's kind of weird, but I mean, sure, you saved Shio essentially through murdering this guy. That's kind of like, I could kind of wave this off a little bit. The second time is when Shio goes missing from the apartment, and then she goes to, she finds Tayo, and then these two assholes just beat the shit out of him, and then these two scumbags, like, they're beating up Tayo, and then, like, they just, like, I don't know, they're just assholes, essentially, right? And then, like, I don't know, they're trying to, like, turn in, or, like, try and, like, take Shio or whatever, and, like, I don't know, bring her to the police, or, like, I don't know what they're trying to do. They're just assholes, they're scumbags. And then Sato comes in, tricks them, and then freaking gouges their eyes out, I think, from what the episode said, but they're dead, essentially. And, yeah, so then, like, the people she's killed were somewhat a bit of assholes, or just, like, they weren't, like, innocent people until episode 9 happens. Now, everyone flipped the fuck out when episode 9 happens, and I understand that too, because I did personally. I honestly really liked her best friend, Shoko, and her character was just sort of, like, there in the beginning, and she sort of got, like, separated with her as the series progressed, right? And I really liked how she's trying to maintain her friendship with her, and that she could be somewhat, like, honest or different while around her, even though Sato sort of didn't feel any emotion being with her, as she said in the anime. But then Shoko's, like, relationship with Sato and her friendship with her was really, really, like, it was really true and passionate, I believe, and, like, I really liked her character. So when I saw her trying to investigate into Sato and just, try and be there for her as a friend and help out and stuff, it was really heartwarming. And then it just got to the point where they had to met the whole aunt, and then she just sort of, like, turned away from her, and then she ran into Asahi and developed a relationship with him, and then it's like, oh my gosh, they're gonna be enemies so bad. It's gonna be so bad. And then episode 9 happens, and she just takes the picture of her apartment and stalks her, and then, she's trying to save Sato. Now, honestly, I would have really liked to see if Sato could be saved or redeemed, and, like, like, change her ways from being a yandere and stuff, but it's kind of too late, and that's not how the show works, because freaking Sato, even after the talk of Shoko and trying to save her, or, like, convince her to turn herself in or something like that, she just kills her. And then the whole internet flipped the fuck out. And so did I, because that was freaking gruesome as fuck. And then that's the point where I was like, okay, Sato, that's you just did the freaking thing, that's you just did something unforgivable. You killed someone, like, your best friend, and someone who wasn't really, like, an asshole or anything like that. She was just a regular little nice innocent girl, and was your friend that was just trying to help you and stuff like that. And then that was just like, oh man, I don't know how I feel about Sato anymore, but she's the main character, so that's gonna go happen. So the whole thing with her and Asahi, that's very interesting. And then after that, it just all went downhill, because now it's just Asahi and Tayo trying to, like, uncover the truth and stuff. Now, I could talk about, what else? I'm just talking about how she killed people and her character, I guess so. So, yeah, after, like, Shoko died to Sato, I was on the edge and fence of how I felt about Sato, because she killed someone she didn't have to kill, in my opinion, or she just killed someone really innocent, and, it's just like, okay, so what's the deal with her? Like, what's she gonna do to live on, right? And essentially, they make the decision to, like, move out of the house and stuff, and I was like, okay, that's whatever. So, let's talk about Aussie. Yeah, let's talk about Aussie, because I don't know what to go on my train of thought. But so Aussie and Tayo. So Tayo, we already know, like, he developed this whole thing with little girls after being defiled by old women, and, Shio was just there, and that's about it. That's actually all I can say about Tayo. So Asahi, so the whole thing, let's talk about Asahi and the whole Kobe family. So Asahi, Shio, and their mom, right? So that's a very interesting story, and how they abandoned Shio, essentially. And, it's really, like, it's really complex, I guess. So essentially, yeah, their whole family situation was really terrible, and I understand how everything happened. And it's kind of weird for me at the same time, the actions that the mom did and just other things with the family. So, the Kobe family living in a terrible household with an abusive father and is just drunk all the time and whatever. And essentially, they come up with a plan to leave him and just sort of, stay away from him and get safe from him. But I think he's like a mob boss or something like that, or something like that. And then, like, oh, if we leave, he'll just find us or whatever, right? So, Shio and the mom, the mom takes Shio and leaves Asahi away to, deal with him, so that way he won't be able to find her or something like that, or he'll keep him on check. And then one day they would promise to meet each other again. Now that day happens, but then we see Asahi tortured the hell and shit, and I could sort of see how that triggers him to be really like crazy and chaotic in his search for Shio. Because towards the end, when he finally finds Shio, right, he's just in a rage, and he brings a bat to the whole scene, and he's like, I'm gonna kill the person that took my sister. Like, whoa, this is really awkward, and you're really, like, thing, because, we see him as, like, a little, like, timid and homeless sort of character in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, when he's, like, finds the information from his sister, he's like, I'm gonna murder every single person and do, like, he's very, like, he turns really dark, I guess. But then that's sort of, I kind of understand where it comes from. And then, he's, like, bringing the bat, and he's, like, trying to force people to do his whatever he wants and whatnot. And it comes from his dark family. Now, the mom, this is where I have some very interesting questions with the mom. So the mom takes Shio away, and they live together for a while, right? And they're essentially living indoors all the time, barely taking Shio out. And then Shio really, like, living in fear that they'll be found by the father. And then Shio's just, being brave, wanting to help out her mom, fill out the emptiness in her heart or whatever, something like that. I forgot what she said, but she wants to fill in the emptiness in their, like, there's like a hole in their jar or something like that. It's like a whole metaphor. But yeah, essentially one time they go outside, and then Shio, almost gets hit by a car, and that's really scary, considering you have this kid who's never been outside and really doesn't interact with people or just the outside society world. It kind of makes sense. She would almost make a mistake at first, and then, it's like, oh yeah, it'll be okay, Mom. We'll totally be okay outside. And then after that point on, the mom just gets super pissed and hits her, and then she gets afraid, that she's turning into, like, the dad or the father. And then that's the point where she decides that Shio was okay by herself, that she didn't need help or something like that, and then, like, she left her, she abandoned her. And then right after that, she apparently goes back to the home to kill the father, like, poisoning her or something like that, and Asi knows this. And then we don't know what happens to her after. Now, I don't know if she gets called by the police or anything like that, but the mom murdered the dad, and then it's just sort of, like, out there. I don't know. I don't think they explained it, if I'm recalling correctly. But yeah, that's what happened to her. But then if they ever found out that she murdered the father, then she'd probably go to jail or something like that, which I don't know about that, but he was a freaking abusive father and shit. And I think you can kind of testify against him because you have one witness. You have the son. So yeah, I don't know how the hell that worked, but I mean, the mom was sort of out there, but not out there. So I don't know. Well, she's alive, I think, because in the end, she's like, Asi comes to Shio in the hospital, and she's like, yeah, our mom's waiting for us. Let's go become a family again, and stuff like that. So she's probably there, but I don't know what would happen if she met Shio again. It's really weird, but that's her whole character. So she abandoned Shio for that reason, and then that's really weird because I'm getting a whole thing of Hanebado mom syndrome right now, because it's like mom's decisions are just not really like why. I can't put it in words, but yeah, it's really confusing her actions, essentially. And then, so this whole leads to the thing that, Shio was abandoned by her mom, and Sato saved her. Sato took her in and took care of her like a daughter, like a family member, which sort of boosted my thinking, like, okay, maybe your actions were sort of acceptable, somewhat. You kind of killed a bunch of people, but you kind of took care of this kid, and they were trying to kill her or, like, harm her and stuff like that. You try to protect her. Then you killed Shoko, so now you're kind of like a criminal and shit like that. So yeah, it's just really on and off. But the fact that her mom abandoned Shio, and then she would have died probably if she didn't get picked up by anyone or Sato, like it's there. Like I can't pass full blame to Sato because there's some have to blame with the mom and her going crazy or whatever, but it's just really weird. So yeah, there's that whole situation, and now we get back towards the end of the show where, oh, actually, I didn't even talk about her aunt, Sato's aunt. So, let's talk about that afterwards because I think that's towards the end. So yeah, that's the whole thing with the Kobe family, and I think that's actually where I was going to. So then this just goes all the way back to the main characters, Shio and Sato. Now Sato, her yandere-ness. Now I really like how they developed her Sato's character, right, and how her yandere thing works, or not like works, but how it makes her tick, and like the metaphor between happy sugar life and bittersweet stuff and whatnot, right? So essentially, Sato likes sweet things, right? The show is called Happy Sugar Life, right? And she quotes it a lot all the time that, her love or her life is like a glass jar or something like that. It's full of sweet things and the candy and metaphor and whatnot, right? And then every single time something bad happened or something doesn't go her way or some people are trying to get in her way, she feels this bitterness within her heart or her mouth or whatever. Like she tastes something bitter going on, and that's when her yandere shit triggers. And then, she's just like, okay, these people are making my whole life bitter. I need to get rid of this shit, right? That's, making my life feel like this. And then the only thing that can make her life feel sweet is Shio, the one she loves. Now, I really like this play on words with the whole happy sugar life and stuff because it just it's sort of weird, but it works. Because I don't know exactly why Sato, or I don't think they explained in the anime, but why they explained the whole thing with this happy, sweet, bitter thing, right, with her aunt. So this goes back to Sato living with her aunt all this time as a kid, right? So Sato's aunt, she's crazy as hell. I don't know exactly her whole background and how she ended up like this, but essentially she accepts people's love and what they want to do to whatever, right? If they're freaking like to torture or hit people, then she will take that and accept their love in a crazy ass way. And it's just really weird. But essentially, I don't know why Sato develops this thing about bitterness and sweetness. It's really interesting. But essentially, I think she had the glass jar as a kid, and they would like fill it up and stuff. Like, oh, this is also love. Like the way that, like, oh, auntie, you're hurt or whatever like that, or you're in pain, or like, have bruises and stuff like that. And then like she would put like a candy thing in the jar, and like, oh, this is also love too, Sato. And then just like, what? I don't know, but essentially, Sato's aunt's crazy, and I don't know exactly how the hell she ended up that way, but she's probably one of the main reasons why Sato was influenced, or not influenced, but like, she ended up like the way she is. Like, Sato is a really true yandere, or not like a yandere, but like, she's like emotionalist. I guess that is a yandere. Because literally, throughout this whole series, she doesn't feel anything. Like anything. She doesn't feel hate or love or happiness or sadness, or maybe she feels sadness, but like she doesn't feel anything for anyone. And that's why she goes around sleeping with guys to try and feel love, what love is, because she wants to know what the feeling of love is. And she doesn't really feel anything about relationships or friendships because she doesn't really feel anything about them. And then, she's just putting on a mask, a face. It's all fake, sort of. She's just acting the way people probably would want to act and smiling and stuff like that. And I think it's because of the whole parenting thing with her aunt and shit. Now, I don't know what the hell happened to her parents also. It's a very good question. What did her parents die in an accident? I don't remember. But yeah, Sato's parents aren't around. And then you have her crazy aunt just raising her terribly and shit. And like teaching her about her really crazy weird love. And just sort of grew on her to not turn out like her auntie. That's also a thing. She's the total opposite of her aunt. Instead of accepting people's love and stuff like that, she sort of, wants to find the one true love and, like be with her forever. And she has Shio. That's really great and all. I think, I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, it's just really, I like the way they play on Sato's bitterness and sweetness metaphors and stuff like that. The aunt's crazy, and the whole explanation for her being this way is kind of meh, or not like meh, but like bad. Like, is not fully explained. I think I don't remember. It's either I don't remember or they didn't explain it. But yeah, I don't know if Sato was born this whole way the whole dang time as she was born, or what happened to her parents, or if the crazy aunt influenced her this way, and where the parents are and whatnot. It's just really unanswered, but it's there. It happened, and essentially throughout this whole show, you see Sato developing more emotions and somewhat growing as a character, as a yandere. Well, it's kind of weird, through her relationship with Shio, and I really like that because character development. That's why I go for it. I go for the character development, and get a good growth and stuff like that. And I really like that in like a series like that. But then it's kind of a twisted dark way, which also makes it really interesting. Because that this person killed, that Sato killed a person or whatever, yet she's developing these emotions of love and trying to protect her love and trying to do everything in the sake of love, somewhat for Shio. Like, it's kind of like they're ups and downs. It's kind of like yin and yang or whatever. There's like a good side and a bad side. There's pros and cons. It's that sort of never ending halfway stuff, right? So, I think I've talked about every single thing in this anime to talk about. Wow. I feel somewhat like a weight has been lifted in, but I guess I could talk more about like the potential for a second season, right? Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was going to think about. Yeah, never mind. So, the ending, Shio, Asahi, and the mom, and everyone else. So, towards the end of the episode, Sato's aunt gets arrested because of the fire, and she gets blamed for it. That seems kind of fair, and I didn't actually expect that, but shoot, she got caught. So she's out of the picture. Tayo is an emotional wreck, and will always be traumatized by adult women now, and that kind of sucks. Now, if Tayo actually meets Shio later on in the future of the series, I don't know if that'd be crazy and Asahi would go murder him or something like that, but it's still a potential because Shio's alive, Sato isn't, and Tayo's alive also. So yeah, I don't know what the hell what would happen to Tayo, like his whole like traumatizing events and stuff like that. The mom's alive, so I don't know how the hell their whole family would be reunited or how that would work. The teacher gets arrested, good on his ass, freaking crazy ass dude, cheating on his wife and stuff. And then Asahi and Shio. So this is all discussion stuff, right? But I would love to see a second season of this, please, because I need to know what the hell is up with Shio. Shio has dramatically changed throughout the series. Now, actually, I did talk about Shio actually throughout this whole series. Shio's character is really interesting throughout this anime. Why? Because in the beginning, of course, you see her with the whole family abusive thing, right? And eventually, she runs out. They run away from the family and live together with the mom. Now, Shio strongly wants to help out the mom. She clearly sees that the mom is like, feeling these things and that she's trying to do these things to protect her and whatnot. Yeah, she's trying to make her smile because she's still on edge and stuff. And that's what happens when she tells her that it's okay to go outside, we'll be okay, nothing's gonna happen to us. She gets in the accident and then she gets abandoned by her mom. And then that's when she gets picked up by Sato, who then sort of develops this thing where like, oh yeah, my mom doesn't need me, I don't need my mom, but I need Sato. I love Sato, and then like, I want to be with her forever in the castle of the apartment and stuff like that. Like, her whole mindset was really weird and twisted because in the beginning of the series, right, you just know that Shio's love interest, and that's the one that Sato loves. We don't know how she ended up in the apartment, whether she knows if Sato's a murderer or whatnot, or where her family is, or she doesn't even remember who her parents were or her sibling was. So that's what's interesting about her. And throughout the anime, you have her develop this like idea that she's starting to remember pieces of her past, like her mom, like, oh, who are you, this lady that I'm seeing, and the scribbles in the face and stuff like that, right? Like, who are you, what's the mom, what's the dad, what's the family? And then eventually through Tayo, she remembers what a mom is, and then she gets the image of her mom and she scribbles it on the wall and stuff, right? But then the whole face is like scribbled out because I don't know, she probably doesn't need her anymore. So at one point in the anime, right, I think it's after Shoko's death, right, like she knew fully well what happens with her, or I don't know exactly if she knows, but like she kind of gets the gist that Sato's like, like different or something like that, or I guess she has to know, right? I think Shio has to know that she had a family once and she had a mom. She does remember her past and that her mom abandoned him or abandoned her. And then I don't know if she cares about the brother at all because she's like, oh yeah, my mom abandoned me, but I still have a brother out there. But she doesn't mention that at all. So she fully remembers that she has a family out there and yet still chooses to stay with Sato. That was one of the really driving parts of this anime where she's like, she's come to terms with her whole past and what's happened to her, yet she would rather stay with the person that saved her and the one person that she actually loves, because Shio and Sato really truly probably do love each other in a way. It's really weird, not weird, but like they just love each other. That they do, like they do this, you know, throughout the whole series. We see them doing like, you know, lovey-dovey stuff, living together, taking baths together, doing that whole marriage thing where they do their vows and stuff like that. But then I never really saw them like, you know, progress that love forward until they actually like kissed and like put the rings on and did the actual marriage and stuff like that. Like she loves Sato, and like they have really true deep love for each other, and I'm just like, damn, this little girl is like been through so much shit, but she sort of has some self-awareness of what she's doing and her actions and stuff like that. So yeah, she, you know, I got abandoned by my parents, and then I'm gonna stay with Sato, and I truly love her, and I marry her with the vows and the rings and whatnot, and I would rather be with her than my family. That's why towards the end of the series, when Asuhi's trying to take a swing at Sato, Shio protects her. She goes like, yeah, I don't care about you guys anymore. I'd rather want to be with Sato. I want to be with her. And now towards the end of the series, now Sato's gone, she can go back to her family, but she's kind of crazy in a way, and she's been influenced by Sato, and the meaning of why she kept her alive in the end, even though they both promised that if worst comes to worst, they would both die together, loving each other and stuff like that. But no, now she's just all infatuated by Sato, and it's just so freaking interesting. I need like a psychologist to dissect this shit for me, and we need a second season. It's so good. Oh my goodness. I haven't talked this much in so long. It's been like 38 minutes now. Okay, so yes, Shio's mindset and her psychology in the end of the series. So of course, Asuhi tried to go and bring flowers to her, and you know, just like, oh yeah, mom's waiting for you, and go back and become a family. But Shio fully rejects that, and she keeps the ribbon of Sato close to her, and all she thinks about is her, and the fact of like, why would she save her in that moment? And like we said in the beginning of this thing, Sato sort of saved her because they developed a deeper relationship to their love, like a family and a daughter, like a family sort of thing, where like a mother and daughter sort of thing, instead of like, you know, actual lovers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really deep, and like now my question would be, what would Shio do for the rest of her life now, even though she knows that her lover is gone? Now, would she find someone that looks like Sato and try to, like, you know, do the same thing that Sato did, where, you know, try to be with her and love her and crazy yandere stuff? Or would she get, like, mental help in the psychiatrist or whatever, or psychology, and then be brought back to normal, but then have, like flashbacks of Sato or whatnot? It's so interesting, and I want to know. It's not fully conclusive. It's just like, oh my gosh, I want to see an anime where Shio is grown up, and after all the shit that happens in the series, like, we see what happens to her mind and her character, because it's really interesting how she got influenced by Sato, and like the whole traumatizing things that happened to her in this anime. Her character is like Sato 2.0, as to quote some other people online and stuff. Shio would probably be the next Sato, and that's a second season right there. You have it right there. So, whew, oh my goodness. I've been talking for 40 minutes a lot, but this anime, I love this anime so much. Like, I haven't seen a yandere or like a horror psychological shit like this in a while, and it's just really, really deep, and I would love to see a second season of it. Please, if there is a manga, so the manga, I plan to read the manga fully towards the end, and if the things don't line up and there's a happier ending in there, or a happy sugar life in there, then I will love to talk about it in another video. Until then, that's it for Happy Sugar Life, guys. It's been good 12 episodes, a lot of discussions, a lot of like ideas, and, you know, what ifs, in the series. If you guys read the manga, feel free to converse in the comments, but don't spoil anything. If there is something different about it, you can tell me that there are changes in the manga, but don't say what they are until I read it, because I want to know so bad. And if the manga does come out in America, which I believe it does, it has been licensed by Yen Press, so get that manga out, please, so I can start collecting it. And yeah, until then, the new anime season has started. I did an anime chart look around, and I did a podcast on that, or talk, but I haven't really watched anything new this season. I'm planning to watch some new stuff, and I'm trying to play games again on my PS4 because I got that to work, so that works also. Great. Now then, that's it for the end of Happy Sugar Life. If you have any questions or comments to what I said throughout this whole thing, or you have some other ideas that I might be wrong, or like, what you think would happen in the future with Shio, leave in the comment section below. I'd love to discuss something with this series because it's really weird and it's really open-ended and it's awesome. So thanks for watching or listening. I don't know how this works anymore, but see you guys later. Take care, guys, and see you next time.